The video we're about to take a look at is the first of several videos that will help you to come to understand weather and what makes weather in the atmosphere. And the first things that we really need to think about and come to understand are air masses, and how huge masses of air create air pressure, and then how those differences in air pressures actually create wind or cause weather patterns to occur on the surface of the earth. So let's take a look at the first two paragraphs. And so we have paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. We're going to read these together, one at a time, and then I've got some sketches to show you. So weather maps are important for understanding and predicting weather. They not only show what the weather is currently doing, but they also tell us what type of weather to expect during the hours or days ahead. Using a weather map is also a fast way to show air measurements, observations about the weather, and boundaries between air masses and fronts. And so this idea of air masses and fronts, this is what we need to take a look at first when we want to come to think about weather. So let's just take a moment and look at a sketch, two sketches that I have, and I'm going to want you to get these two sketches down on the back of your reading. So let's look at the first of the two sketches. This sketch shows a high pressure air mass. Here's the surface of the earth, and we're talking this is so huge that this could be over here, this could be Washington, D.C., and this could be Chicago over here. So air masses can be huge, and they extend high up into the atmosphere. So this could be as high as 10 kilometers. And high pressure air masses allow cold air from high up in the atmosphere to sink down to the surface of the earth. So this is a cold, dry air mass. Let's look at a low pressure air mass. Low pressure air masses do not extend as high up into the atmosphere. And so in comparing high pressure systems and low pressure systems, we find that low pressure systems will have different characteristics than high pressure systems, such as different air pressure, different temperatures, different levels of moisture and humidity. So in beginning to understand weather, we first need to understand air masses and what happens when they interact with each other. Briefly, let's go back and look at this sketch right here. When you take earth science in the high school, your earth science teachers will ask you to actually learn all these different types of air masses and what their names are and how we classify them, because different regions on the surface of the earth produce different types of air masses based on the heating and how much land mass there is, or whether it's over a large body of water like an ocean or a sea. But from above, you can kind of get the idea how big air masses can be. And so in this sketch, we're actually looking down on the earth. Here's the United States of America, or the North American continent, and you can see that, you can have air masses so large that they extend all the way across from one side of the continent almost to the other. And air masses can be larger than this, covering more territory, or they can be smaller than this, depending on the characteristics of the air mass. So in understanding air masses, we understand that air masses are almost like bubbles. They're huge, and high pressure air masses can extend high up into the atmosphere. Low pressure air masses do not extend as high up into the atmosphere. Nonetheless, they can be large. There are some other characteristics of these air masses that we'll look at in just a moment. Let's go back to the reading and continue on with paragraph 2.